We'll call the next group, the names of the next group.
Mr. McCormick, Mr. Moreno, Mr. Murphy, Ms. Rosen.
Ready? Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that you take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which you are about to enter, so help you God?
I do.
The clerk will call the names of the... And the House come to order. Mr. Speaker and members of Congress, pursuant to the Constitution and laws of the United States, the Senate and House of Representatives are meeting in joint session to verify the certificates and count the votes of the electors of the several states for President and Vice President of the United States. After ascertainment has been had that the certificates are authentic and correct in form, the tellers will count and make a list of the votes cast by the electors of the several states. The tellers on the part of the two houses will take their places at the clerk's desk. Without objection, the tellers will dispense with reading formal portions of the certificates. After ascertaining that the certificates are regular in form and authentic, the tellers will announce the votes cast by the electors for each state, beginning with Alabama.
Amen.
Please join me in pledging allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
President.
Leader Schumer.
I would just like to welcome our chaplain back. We're glad he's with us and in good health, and wish him and all of us a Happy New Year.
The state of the vote for the President of the United States, as delivered to the President of the Senate, is as follows. The whole number of the electors appointed to vote for President of the United States is 538. Within that whole number, the majority is 270. The votes for President of the United States are as follows. Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 312 votes. Kamala D. Harris Kamala D. Harris of the state of California has received 226 votes. Well, today was obviously a very important day, and it was about what should be the norm and what the American people should be able to take for granted, which is that one of the most important pillars of our democracy is that there will be a peaceful transfer of power. And today, I did what I have done my entire career, which is take seriously the oath that I have taken many times to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, which included today performing my constitutional duties to ensure that the people of America, the voters of America, will have their votes counted, that those votes matter, and that they will determine then the outcome of an election. I do believe very strongly that America's democracy is only as strong as our willingness to fight for it. Every single person, their willingness to fight for and respect the importance of our democracy. Otherwise, it is very fragile, and it will not be able to withstand moments of crisis. And today, America's democracy stood.
Madam President, Vice President, what's next for you? What's next for you?
For quite some time, but again, I'm going to just close my comments by saying this. This is an extraordinary group of leaders. And what Dr. King taught us, and the King families here, you know, I'm always quoting Coretta Scott King. Ours is a journey. Ours is a journey. And the fight that we are in, which is the fight to uplift the people, the fight for freedom, the fight for civil rights, the fight for dignity, the fight for human rights, must be fought and won with each generation. And what we know is that our definition of the win is a definition that takes us over a period of time, where part of how we measure the win is, are we making progress? How we measure the win is based on the knowledge that it is an enduring fight, and that we must be strong, and that whatever the outcome of any particular moment, we can never be defeated. Our spirit can never be defeated. Because when that happens, we won't win. And as far as I know and am concerned, when I look at the group of leaders here, this is a group of winners. This is a group of winners. So let's stay in the fight. Let's do what we gotta do. And again, I thank you, Nan, for all that you have done for me and so many people who are not in this room. Be blessed. Have a wonderful new year. Thank you. Okay, well, you knew if Opal was coming out, I was next, right? Hi, oh my goodness. We've got alum from years and years ago and days ago here. And, I saw so many of everyone who's here during the holiday parties, but I just have to say again, I am so proud of our team. And this is a team that spans many years of doing extraordinary work on behalf of the people. And as you all have heard me say many times, I am fully aware that I am the public face of a lot of our work. And so I have the benefit of running into people all over our country who thank me. And I will tell you, I am fully aware that when they are thanking me, they are thanking our team for the extraordinary commitment that you each have and as a team have to lifting up the American people, lifting up their condition, lifting up their hopes and dreams, and understanding through it all the nobility of public service. We have each taken on a life and a calling that is about doing work in the service of others, and doing it in a way that is fueled, yes, with ambition, yes, with a sense of almost stubbornness about not hearing no, and knowing we can make a difference. And I'm not going to go through the laundry list of all of our accomplishments. We know what they are. But I will tell you that everyone here has so much to be proud of. And our work is not done. And as you all know me, because we have spent long hours, long days, and months and years together, it is not my nature to go quietly into the night. So don't worry about that. But the ceremony of signing this desk is something that is especially important. So I hope everyone will get a chance to see the desk. But I have actually, I think with the exception of Truman and Eisenhower, met every person who has signed this desk, every vice president, former vice president. And, we don't all, all of them. In fact, I talked to Mondale, Vice President Mondale, just days before he passed. And I will say that although many of us might have disagreed, me and some of the previous vice presidents, on certain matters, policy matters, I think we all probably have shared a very common experience that is a through line, as evidenced by the fact that we have this tradition of signing this desk since 1940, I believe. And it is the work of caring about our country. It is the work of understanding we hold these offices in the public trust. with the duty and the responsibility to uphold the oath we take, to respect, to defend the Constitution of the United States, to do our work on behalf of the people of the United States. And so I stand in a long tradition as the 49th Vice President of the United States, in a long tradition of Vice Presidents who have signed this desk, and I do so with great honor and with the knowledge that our work here has mattered, it has meaning, it has impacted people we may never meet, people who may never know our name, but who are ever, forever grateful for the work that you each and we all together have done. So I thank you all, and with that, I'm going to pull out the Sharpie. All right.
I'm taking pictures now.
This way.
Press right
this way.
Thank you, everybody. Press, come this way.
Right this way.
Right this way.
We're going to continue getting work done until Monday, and then I'll keep you posted. Thanks, everyone.
I'm taking pictures now.
This way.
Press right
This way. Thank you, everybody. Press, come this way.
Right this way.
Right this way.
We're going to continue getting work done until Monday, and then I'll keep you posted. Thanks, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, escorting the President of the United States and the Vice President of the United States, ranking member of the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, the Honorable Deb Fischer, House Democratic Leader, the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries, and Senate Majority Secretary, the Honorable Robert Duncan. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, the Honorable Joseph R. Biden Jr., and Vice President of the United States, the Honorable Kamala Harris.
describing what's been happening in recent months as absolute chaos. And of course, I understand why. And it's certainly true of those tariffs. Tariffs that, as I predicted, are clearly inviting a recession. But friends, please let us not be duped into thinking everything is chaos. I know it may feel that way, but understand what we are in fact witnessing is a high-velocity event where a vessel is being used for the swift implementation of an agenda that has been decades in the making. An agenda to slash public education. An agenda to shrink government and then privatize its services. All while giving tax breaks to the wealthiest among us. By the way, an agenda that is not lowering costs, not making life more affordable, and not what they promised. It's an agenda, a narrow, self-serving vision of America, where they punish truth-tellers, favor loyalists, cash in on their power, and leave everyone to fend for themselves, all while abandoning allies and retreating from the world. And folks, what we are experiencing right now is exactly what they envisioned for America. Right now, we are living in their vision for America. But this is not a vision that Americans want. We are living in a moment when the checks and balances upon which we have historically relied have begun to buckle. And we here know that when the checks and balances ultimately collapse, if Congress fails to do its part, or if the courts fail to do their part, or if both do their part, but the president defies them anyway, well, friends, that is called a constitutional crisis. And that is a crisis that will eventually impact everyone. Because it would mean that the rules that protect our fundamental rights and freedoms, that ensure each of us has a say about how our government works, will no longer matter. And if that happens, the one check, the one balance, the one power that must not fail is the voice of the people. Look, right now I know a lot of folks are wondering what's going to guide us through this moment. How are we all going to figure out how to chart the course? Emerge, I will say something you know. Throughout my entire career in life, I have always believed in the ideals of our nation. The ideals reflected in the Declaration of Independence, that all are created equal and endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. Ideals advanced and affirmed by the service and sacrifice of generations of patriots. The ideals that ground the Constitution of the United States, that here in our country Power ultimately lies not with the wealthy or well-connected, but with all of us, with we the people. Now, of course, I recognize that America has never fully lived up to these ideals, that for all the gains we've made, the American dream has for decades been slipping further out of reach for so many, and that the American people deserve leaders who make their lives better and make our country stronger. But sadly, we have seen quite the opposite over these past few months. Now, I know tonight's event happens to coincide with the 100 days after the inauguration, and I'll leave it to others to give a full accounting of what has happened so far. But I will say this. Instead of an administration working to advance America's highest ideals, we are witnessing the wholesale abandonment of those ideals. And what we are also seeing in these last 14 weeks is Americans using their voice and showing their courage. We all know President Trump and his administration and their allies are counting on the notion that fear can be contagious. They are counting on the notion that if they make some people afraid, it will have a chilling effect on others. But what they're overlooking, what they have overlooked, is that fear is not the only thing that's contagious. Courage is contagious. The courage of Americans who are banding together in the face of the greatest man-made economic crisis in modern presidential history. Americans across the political spectrum who are declaring that the president's reckless tariffs hurt workers and families by raising the cost of everyday essentials, devastate the retirement accounts that people spent a lifetime paying into, and paralyze American businesses, large and small, forcing them to lay off people, to stop hiring or pause investment decisions. The courage of Americans we are seeing who are rallying at Social Security offices to protect their hard-earned benefits. Of Americans who are speaking out to say, it is not okay to violate court orders. Not okay. Saying it is not okay to detain and disappear American citizens or anyone without due process. The courage of judges to uphold the rule of law in the face of those who would jail them. Of universities that are defying unconstitutional demands that threaten the pursuit of truth and academic independence. Rest for a moment. Okay. It's kind of dark in here, but I'm asked to show of hands. Who saw that video from a couple of weeks ago? The one of the elephants at the San Diego Zoo during the earthquake? Google it if you've not seen it. about these days. Well, so in the video, for those who haven't seen it, here those elephants were. And as soon as they felt the earth shaking beneath their feet, they got in a circle and stood next to each other to protect the most vulnerable. Think about it. What a powerful metaphor. Because we know those who try to incite fear are most effective when they divide and conquer, when they separate the herd, when they try to make everyone think they are alone. But in the face of crisis, the lesson is don't scatter. The instinct has to be to immediately find and connect with each other, and to know that the circle will be strong. So I'll end with this. I am not here tonight to offer all the answers, but I am here to say this. You are not alone, and we are all in this together. And straight talk, things are probably going to get worse before they get better. But we are ready for it. We are not going to scatter. We are going to stand together, everyone a leader, and emerge. You have a special role to play. Organizing is as important as ever. Mobilizing is as important as ever. Running for office is as important as ever. So please, everyone here, please keep doing what you are doing. And to everyone, let's lock it in. Lock it in. Gear up for the hard work ahead. And please, always remember, this country is ours. It doesn't belong to whoever is in the White House. It belongs to you. It belongs to us. It belongs to we, the people. Thank you. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you all. And I will tell you, the courage of all these Americans inspires me. And I have been inspired by the movements like the one in Wisconsin that put Susan Crawford on the Supreme Court. By the State of the People Power Tour that is aiming to ignite a grassroots movement to lift up voices and advance freedom and justice. And by leaders across the spectrum, including congressional leaders like Cory Booker, Chris Van Hollen, Chris Murphy, Jasmine Crockett, Maxwell Cross, AOC, and Bernie Sanders. All who, in different ways, have been speaking with moral clarity about this moment.
Back to this point, it seems like, we need to talk about it a little bit more, is 5 months after October 7th, I gave a speech at the foot of the Edmund Pettus Bridge in commemoration of Bloody Sunday. And I was the first person at the highest level of our United States government or administration to talk about the fact that the people in Gaza were starving. That was a year and a half ago. And to talk, and people in our administration can tell you what my voice was in those rooms, in those closed rooms in the Oval Office. I was not president. I couldn't make the decisions, but I made my position clear.
CBC, we have some deep work to do. And first I would offer, we must prioritize immediacy. Focus on the immediate issues that people face, like the rising cost of groceries, housing, and child care. Second, we cannot allow them to gaslight us by suggesting that the powerless and not the powerful are responsible for our predicament. And finally, please let's get over the savior complex, which suggests one individual can save us. Come on. Because Democrats, we have so many stars. We have so many stars, and many of them are in this room right now. You are the leaders who are up for the fight. You are leaders who have courage. You are leaders who speak truth. Leaders who know that at a time such as this, it demands one thing for sure. We must fight fire with fire. So CBC, let's get to work. Thank you. CBC. Good evening, everyone. Let me thank CBCS Foundation Chair, Congresswoman Terry Sewell, for that beautiful introduction. And I thank CBC Chair, Congresswoman Yvette Clark, and all the CBC members, all of the award winners, and everyone gathered here for your long-standing leadership and support. As a former, and I consider myself lifetime member of CBC, I am deeply honored to receive this award. For more than half a century, the CBC has not only been the conscience of the Congress, but a conscience of America, fighting for opportunity, for equality, and for freedom. With your help, 75 million Americans stood with us last year on behalf of a stronger America. Stood with a belief in the promise of America. And today, CBC, in the tradition of its founders, confronts an unprecedented but not unfamiliar threat to that promise. The United States Congress has equal power to the executive branch in our constitutional government. And your work, then, is more important than ever, especially as your colleagues bend the knee and fail to uphold their constitutional duty. But I'll tell you who refuses to capitulate: the people. When a president with a fragile ego couldn't take a joke and brought down the weight of the federal government to silence the voice of a citizen, folks spoke with their pocketbooks this week, and Jimmy Kimmel is now back on the air. And when Dr. Jamal Bryant issued a call to speak with your pocketbooks, the power of the people was also demonstrated. With each day,
the capitulation. The universities, law firms, media corporations, the titans of industry who have been so quick to kneel before a tyrant. A time such as this demands that the leaders in this room remind the people of their power. Speak truth and speak with courage, even when you don't have all the answers. A time such as this demands that we win the midterms and enforce checks and balances on this unchecked, incompetent, unhinged president. Yesterday, I had the joy of visiting students at my alma mater, Howard University. And while I was there, I remembered when I was their age, I got to Howard when I was 17. When I was their age, Ronald Reagan was president. And the extreme right wing was hatching the long-term agenda that is being swiftly implemented today, enhanced today by propaganda and misinformation. And recall, they played the long game, working for decades to take over state houses, gerrymander districts, stack the Supreme Court, and create the radical blueprint currently being used by this administration. As I have written, the current president is their vehicle. But the road was paved over decades by a hot and pungent group. Ronald Reagan's celebrity, the belligerent discourse of Newt Gingrich, and the nativism of Pat Buchanan. CBC, we have some deep work to do.